voting on November 2nd?
Yes, I am.
Everybody should vote. It's important. We need to make change.
It's important that we can be able to change the nation in the direction we want it to go.
I vote because I want to have a say in my government.
Welcome back to the program. We're going to go back to Washington here in a second, but I want to talk to a few people here in the audience. We're going to start with Jean. You were saying in the break that you agree with Michelle Bachmann on that it's all about the speaker.
Yes, I do. Just the past 4 years, Nancy Pelosi has been Speaker. She has been the driving force behind the legislation that's been put forth in Washington, from health care to bailouts. We need to change her. She's a very effective speaker, and she's able to twist the arms to make whatever she wants happens.
Okay, Chris, you were, Bill, let me grab the microphone from you. I'm sorry. You were saying a second ago that you're worried about the coalition of power. And, Jean, the reason why I want to go here to Chris is because Nancy Pelosi is the arm twister, if you will, in the House, but she is not the brains or anything behind it. This is really starts at the Tides Foundation and Soros. The coalition of power is unbelievable. And so you're just replacing one faith. They're making these people into straw men. And they say, look at the boogeyman. And then you replace them and nothing changes, because that's not the boogeyman. That's just the face of the boogeyman that they've put on. Chris.
Yes, sir. My point was, I have an honorable congressman, but I need him and the others to join together to form those coalitions of power we need for our movement. And other than, calling, writing, and emailing, how else do we get them to join together?
Well, let me go to Matt Kibbe, because that's what your job is at FreedomWorks. You try to put the coalition of power together. And it really is frightening, Matt, because I'm not a joiner of anything. I don't trust anybody. I mean, does anybody really trust anything anymore outside of your own personal life? That's sad. That is sad. And it's by design, because if we don't, then the real coalitions of power, which are real, look at the Tides Foundation, look at 10 to 10, which was funded by Tides, that coalition is there. That's what you are trying to do with FreedomWorks.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you can try to elect better politicians. You can try to find character. You have to sort of judge them based on what they say. But we're sort of forgetting the fundamental mandate from our founders, that people, citizens, all of us have to take that responsibility on for ourselves. And November 2nd is just one day. You have to show up on November 2nd. But we have to be eternally vigilant. We have to show up again and again and again if we expect politicians to do the right thing, because we shouldn't leave them to their own devices.
Okay. Which brings me to Bill. And Bill, I think you bring up such a great point here, which is we may be putting the cart before the horse. Kind of?
Yes, sir. You said a moment ago, you mentioned the importance of virtue. And I believe there's a group in our country, I wish it were a bigger group, that puts morality over money. And money is certainly important. Economics is important. We want to be responsible economically. But when it comes down to a candidate, there's a group of people that look at the morality issues first. And I think that's important. I think we need to do that. Sometimes we sacrifice some economics to do that, but immorality should certainly be.
But we don't necessarily. I mean, I'm a guy. Is anybody a full tithe payer? Anybody pay 10%? You two, 3 people. Aaron says, well, maybe 8%. Tithing is really difficult to do. 10% of your income to give to your faith is a lot. But let me tell you something. It's the secret to knowing where your blessings come from. And it's just training. It is training of, this is not my money. This is his money first, and I get to keep 90% of it until the government gets their greedy hands on it. But that is the secret. And that's why when you say it's morality, it's not. It is the recognition that all of our founders had, that all of the blessings that come from him. Yes. They're not ours. We're stewards of it. And if we put that in order, and then we are the kind of people that say, no, wait. No. They come from him first. Our rights come from him. Our blessings come from him. And then we have the ability to be able... Moral people would not put up with what happened in the banking community. They wouldn't do it. They would walk or they would rat. Moral people would not put up with what is happening in Washington. I'm looking for the person that Davy Crockett was, that when he was stabbed in the back by his own party and he was co-opted and he was tricked by Andrew Jackson to leave town. When he found out about it, he rode back into town and they were in session and they tried to keep him out, and he stood up and he said, "You can all go to hell. I'm going to Texas." And that's the kind of person that believes in something and stands up and says, "I'll have no part of it." Back in just a second. Back with Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, Utah Congressman Jason Chavez, and South Carolina Senator Jim Demint. Senator, final thought.
Well, I like where you're headed, Glenn, because you really can't have a free and a prosperous country without a moral culture. One of the problems we have in Washington now is the government is trying to replace a Judeo-Christian value system with a politically correct morality that is very destructive. So we really can't put up with these folks who say, let's put our culture on the back burner while we work on economics. Economics is dependent on morality. I want to remind people that the time to fight and get rid of rhinos in the Republican Party is the primary, and we've done that. And frankly, we've done that very well this year, thanks to you, Glenn, a lot of folks in the media, Michelle and Jason and others. There are two teams in Congress, and one is Republican, the other is Democrat. And unless you've got a very exciting independent candidate, I would encourage folks to give us a chance with the Republican Party. I think we've got the best slate we've had in years.
I tell you, Senator, I'll tell you what I said to you about 3-4 years ago. If the Republicans do this and they co-opt these people and they aren't everything they say, your party is over, and I mean forever. Forever. Do I have to wrap it up?
No, I've said that too, Glenn.
Okay.
That's right.
Are we out of time? Michelle and Jason, I'm sorry we're out of time, but God bless you both, and best of luck. Thank you. Back in a minute.
On November 2nd, 2010, you have a choice. You can stand up for freedom and liberty, or sit back and let the American dream become a nightmare. It's way too late for politics. Instead, vote as if your way of life depends on it. Because it does. Vote for government by the people, of the people, and for the people. Vote Democrat, Republican, or Independent. But whatever you do, vote for honor, restoration, the Constitution. Vote for America.
What would I like to see changed? I would like them to, just to cut back on all of the government spending, stop all the government programs where they're bailing everybody out for making bad mistakes that unintentionally that punishes people that made the correct decisions.
We were just talking about these three candidates, especially Senator Demint. He's a pariah within the Republican Party. It is not only a battle for the soul of the Republican Party, but also the Republic. Get out and vote. From New York, good night, America.